You are now listening to theGrio's Black Podcast Network, Black Culture Amplified.
At the beginning of most journeys, there are a few questions that need to be answered. Where are we going? How will we get there? How long will it take? And then, of course, there's the most important question of all. And that's why I want to welcome you to theGrio Daily, the only podcast that will tell you who all gonna be there. Yeah, I'm sure everybody listening, if you're Black, has heard that question before. Whether it is a party or a cookout or a friend's house, you have to know who all gonna be there. Well, first of all, there is a very good reason why we ask that question. Because back in 1829, I'm just kidding, I'm not gonna go into a history lesson this time. But the reason we want to know that is because, first of all, if you're Black, there are a lot of places that you can go that are detrimental to your health, to your well-being, to your existence. If you ask who all gonna be there and somebody says the police, you ain't going. If somebody says it's gonna be mostly white people, you have to at least prepare yourself to be the Black person at the place. And so who all gonna be there is a very important question. Well, I have put together a list of the top 10 people who are most likely to be there. Number 10 is a white girl. A white girl is always going to be there. You can go to the club, a wedding. Shoot, if you were in Seattle in the NAACP, Rachel Dolezal was there. A white girl is always going to be in the house. You should know that a white girl is always going to be there when you prepare to go. Number 9 is the outfit wearer. You know that there are some people who have a specific outfit for every event. If you go into church, there's going to be a lady who picked out that wide-brimmed hat. Is not a cowboy hat, a church hat. Even if it is a regular church service, it's going to be somebody dressed to the nines. It's going to be a dude who's wearing some Stacey Adams. Somebody's going to be there wearing hard bottoms. You can just count on that. If it's homecoming, somebody's going to have a homecoming outfit that was laid on the edge of the bed. It was ironed 4 or 5 times. People wearing outfits are always going to be wherever you go. Number 8 is the person who is always late. I'm sorry, but a lot of times I am that person. If it was supposed to start at 9 o'clock, I'm getting there about 9:14. On average, I've timed myself, aggregated them, and divided. You know how to do math. But there's always going to be somebody who the festivities or the activities depend on, but they're just a little bit late, and it was because of traffic. And they're going to always call you right before they get there and say, I'm pulling up now. And when they say I'm pulling up now, you still have about 8 minutes and 42 seconds. Again, I've done the math before they arrive. So the late person is always going to be there. Number 7 is somebody who's too old to be there. I don't care where you go. If it's the club, it's a 57-year-old dude who's trying to buy you a drink. He's also usually an outfit wearer because he has, a matching pants and top. If it's a woman, she's definitely going to have either a leather skirt or leather pants or maybe a leopard skin print top. If it's church, there's a lady who was on the sick and shut-in list and she got an oxygen tank. She could have sent her prayers in from her home, but she got to be at church. She don't miss church. So somebody who's too old to be there is always there. Even if you go to a daycare center, it's always like a 9-year-old at the baby daycare center who, his parents dropped him off. So somebody who's too old to be there is going to be there. And then there's the person who snuck in. I blame number 6 on Harriot Tubman. Black people, we are professional get-inners. We can get in any place, right? You can't keep a Black person out of any place. Whether it is a Beyonce concert, somebody's going to sneak in. Sometimes it doesn't have anything to do with how much it costs to get in or the entry fee. Sometimes it's just, people nosy. You could have a family meeting and one of your neighbors or somebody who ain't even no kin to you is going to be there. So there's somebody who's not supposed to be there that's always there. I sneak into cookouts all the time, so I am part of this contingent too. Number 5 is the person you didn't want to be there. There's always going to be somebody you didn't want to see at any place you go. It could be one of your exes who you had a bad breakup with, and they're going to be there having a good time with their new partner. Don't feel bad. It's everywhere you go, there's somebody who you didn't want to see. Even if you go to the drugstore to get some birth control, your pastor's going to be in line right behind you. If you snuck out and went to a place that you weren't supposed to go, one of your mama friends is going to be there. Look, there's going to be somebody you didn't want to see. You got to prepare for it. Number 4 is Jesus. Jesus is always there. Now, we know that Jesus is, or God is everywhere. But what I'm talking about is the person that brings a little bit of religion, is a little bit too churchy there. I went to a baby shower last week, and a prophetess was there. Or she may be a deaconess. I don't know her actual rank. We had to wait for her to pray over the expecting mother's stomach. Because, Jesus is going to be in the house. Jesus always pays the entry fee at least, though, but he's always there. Number 3 is somebody you went to school with. I don't care if it's college, high school, but somebody you went to school with who calls you classmate is always going to be there. And if you didn't go to school with them, they're around your age. And the most important part of this person's aura is that they always want you to remember when. Remember when we went to that place and did that thing? I know you married and you don't drink anymore, but remember when you hooked up with that dude when we was at the club and then you threw up all over his back seat and he dropped you off and I had to come pick you up? Remember that? Remember? Boy, that was a time. Ooh, we had a time that time. Now, the next person is kind of like that person, but not really. It's the person you weren't prepared to see. Now, this is different, right? If your friend invites you to her house for a dinner party and you just throw on some clothes and don't do your hair, the person you got a crush on is going to be there. I'm sorry. Like, you just got to prepare for it. That's actually what turns people into outfit wearers, because there have been so many places where they encountered a person they weren't prepared for, and they say, well, look, I'm going to wear a 3-piece suit and a prom dress everywhere I go. So they're always prepared, but they're still never prepared, because even if you're wearing a tuxedo, there's going to be somebody there who you borrowed $40 from in 1998, and you ain't got no cash on you because you weren't prepared for them. Number 2 is Mr. or Mrs. Good Time. Oh, I'm sure you know the good time girl or the good time guy. That person is the person who somehow is going to turn up no matter where you are. And this person always have an extra layer or an extra level of turn up that you weren't ready for, right? Like if you drink, this person is going to be smoking weed like at your mama's Thanksgiving dinner. If you smoke weed, this person going to ask you if you want some cocaine. They got a little bit too much turn up in them. And this person never wants to go home either, right? It could be 2 a.m. and you're leaving the bachelorette party and they want to go hang out with the strippers. Oh, and Mr. or Mrs. Turn Up, first of all, this is the easiest way to spot Mr. or Mrs. Turn Up. They're going to want to do shots. I don't care where you are. You could be at a Christmas party and your boss is there, and you're trying to get a promotion or a raise, and they're going to want to do shots. They're going to want to dance. They're going to twerk. I don't care if it's a dude or a woman. And you'll be like, hey, look, man, this is a cookout. My grandmama here. I'm not finna drop it low while my grandmama's here, but not Mr. or Mrs. Turn Up. They're going to want to get busy. If you don't, they're going to make you feel bad about it. Hey, what's wrong with you? Why you a stick in the mud? Why you tripping, man? Like, I thought we was here to have a good time. And I'm not just talking about parties or social events, right? There's always a lady at your church who right before they let out service, she want to testify or she's going to start shouting during the benediction. Look, let us go home. Like, turn-ups don't ever want to go home. I don't know what's going on at their house, but they don't never want to go home. And number 1 on the list, and you must be prepared for this every time you go out, because this person is always, always, always going to be there. And it's somebody who has beef. There's going to be somebody who wants to fight. Now, they might not fight. They might not even have a confrontation, but they want to. And you know who this person is. I'll give you some signs to spot this person. If somebody says, why she looking at me like that? They are a beef bringer. They brought some beef with them. If somebody's entire conversation is about their haters, then they are the hater. Oh, they got beef. They got beef. Trust me. That's why you got to go places by yourself, because one of the cardinal rules of going anywhere is that if you go with somebody, you're on their team. If they got beef, you are automatically included in that beef. That's why if I have to say chill out 2 times, then I'm leaving, because I know the beef is coming. But most importantly, the thing that you have to realize is that when you ask who all gonna be there, there's somebody there who's asking the same thing. And their answer sometimes is you. So one of the most important parts of actually being there is figuring out which one of the people on this list that you are. Because you gonna be there. And that's why you have to decide that if you gonna be there, you might as well have a good time. You might as well enjoy yourself. You might as well get used to the fact that all 10 of these people are gonna be there, and so are you. And that's why I just stay home, or I download the theGrio app. I tell my friends about this podcast. I subscribe, and I always leave with a black saying. And today's black saying is, I know who all gonna be there. Black people. We'll see you next time on the theGrio Daily. If you like what you heard, please give us a 5-star review, download the theGrio app, subscribe to the show, and share it with everyone you know. Please email all questions, suggestions, and compliments to podcast@thegrio.com.
You are now listening to theGrio's Black Podcast Network, Black Culture Amplified.
I'm Torre. Join us for crazy true stories about stars who I really hung out with, like Snoop, Jay-Z, Prince, Kanye, and the time I got kidnapped by Suge Knight. Don't miss my animated series, Star Stories with Torre, from the theGrio Black Podcast Network.